Hello everyone, my name is Francis, and welcome back to the Anti-Fascist Atlas. After 7 terribly long months without this show, at least if you aren't counting the TikToks and the shorts, I have once again returned. 7 months ago, I talked about a political climate that seemed to have a shred of hope, one where radical leftist ideas were beginning to enter the conversation, and one with a newly elected socialist mayor of New York City. And then, of course, 2026 came.
If this country doesn't, one way or another, end birthright citizenship, this country doesn't have a future.
Sounding the alarm on what he calls a grocery price emergency in the United States.
Post on Truth Social that the U.S. had struck these targets in Iran and raising questions about the status of that ceasefire.
They arrested us because they're trying to find a larger movement. They're trying to hit the rest of Minneapolis. And I think we are just the tip of the iceberg with this. They are definitely trying to come after people more for political reprisal.
The white supremacist group Patriot Front marched through D.C.
Since the ceasefire, backed by the United States, was agreed in October last year, Israeli forces have killed more than 1,000 people, entire families wiped away.
As much as some people might like to turn back time, things will never be like the way they were before. The age of neoliberalism and American hegemonic power and goodies and treats and being able to live a half-decent life if you were lucky enough to be part of the middle class, it's all over. Now we live in a fascist fucking hellscape that becomes more and more apparent every single day. We have the Gestapo marching around our streets. We have concentration camps where detainees are being fed food laden with maggots and worms. We have the gambling industry that's exploding in popularity as the bottom 99% become increasingly more destitute. We have rampant corruption, a skyrocketing cost of living, institutions being hollowed out for parts before the whole country comes crashing down, a rapidly deteriorating planet, and a pedophilic billionaire elite that's too rich to be stopped. All of it can be traced back to the rampant, repugnant disease that we call capitalism. This is the rotten, ugly, final form of capitalism that we are living through. It was always going to turn out like this. Capitalism is an economic system that not only relies on exploitation of the working class, but it also relies on growth, a level of growth that is actually completely unsustainable. The capital class is constantly looking to increase their profit margins, they're constantly looking to expand, and after they conquer the markets at home, they turn to exploit the rest of the world. And when there's nothing left to exploit, we enter late-stage capitalism. Corporations consolidate, fewer and fewer companies control more and more of the market, and of course they're still expected to keep those profit margins growing, of course, so they look to exploit the working class to the utmost degree in order to do so. They start staffing their companies with skeleton crews, they start demanding more and more and more out of their laborers, they cooperate with the state in order to hollow out every single institution for parts, and they make every single product worse and worse as they try to extract more and more profit from consumers. You know, the great enshittification of everything, that's just the dying throes of the capitalist system. As living conditions become more and more intolerable for the working class, suddenly they start to see the light. They turn to ideas like socialism, communism, anarchism. Discontent brews and the 99% grow louder and louder in their cries for something better. Suddenly, the capital class, the bourgeois, the Epstein class even, whatever you want to call them, suddenly they're looking at an impending revolution. Look, Jax, I know we don't get along, but I think I've found a way to stop the working class from revolting.
Not my best work, I'll be honest.
Instead of continuing business as usual, they decide to sell the working class a new idea: fascism. Let that word hang in your brain for a moment and consider what it means to you. In modern political discourse, the word fascism has largely just been turned into a buzzword that we all just insult each other with, and that's severely to the advantage of the right wing. So let me be crystal clear. When I say the bourgeois is peddling fascism to the working class, I'm not just throwing out some, vague insult that right-wingers can just shrug off. I'm trying to say that the bourgeois is trying to convince the working class that the solution to all of their problems is turning America into a hyper-nationalist surveillance state that operates on a hierarchy of wealth and race. And right now, the working class is eating that right up. From the perspective of the capital class, selling this idea to the working class makes total sense. The people desire radical change to their living conditions, but maybe we can sell them a different kind of change. Maybe we'll tell them that instead of the capital class being the problem, it's the immigrants. We'll tell them that our culture is under attack, and that we have to protect it. We'll tell them that we need to stop the communists by any means necessary, and fascism is the only way to do it. We'll use our influence over the media and the state in order to sell them this idea. But not every person is uneducated enough to buy this, though, so we use state violence, censorship, and intimidation to silence them. And if we do all that, just maybe we can hold on to our power. Capitalism becomes imperialism, and imperialism becomes fascism. All of our weapons and tactics and terror that we utilized against other countries for the past couple of decades, now they're going to be weaponized against the people at home. The deterioration of material conditions is giving rise to more radical ideas. Socialism has entered the Overton window, and in doing so, it opens up the conversation to more radical ideas like anarchism and communism. On the other side of the aisle, the fear of reactionaries and the capital class is giving rise to fascist sentiment. That is why things will never return to the way they were before. The world you were born in no longer exists, and now humanity arrives at a fork in the road. The planet is burning and humanity is running on borrowed time. Attempting to cling on to the old neoliberal ideas will guarantee our descent into fascism. It will guarantee the war, the catastrophe, the death that the unmitigated climate crisis will bring. So, each and every one of us faces a choice. We can sit idly by and let our world fall further and further into fascism. We can let our fear and apathy get the best of us. We can build a cruel and uncaring world just through our sheer indifference. Or we can choose to face our fear, dig our heels in, and fight. We can choose to fight for a far better world than the one we grew up in. One where everyone is treated with dignity and respect, one where everyone's basic needs are met. We can build a world that can withstand the climate crisis, not by leaving everyone else out to dry, but through international solidarity. We can build a world where opportunity is truly equal, in a world where freedom isn't only available to the richest few. And I know that I do tend to have a flair for the dramatic, but I do genuinely believe that this is an incredibly decisive moment, one that will shape our world for generations. These next 2 decades might just decide everything. With the climate crisis knocking on our doorstep and with the global system buckling under the weight of late-stage capitalism, it is now or never. This is a choice all of us have to make. It's a choice between hope or fear, a choice between empathy or apathy, a choice between rationality or hysteria, a choice between love or hate. And that choice is yours. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Special thanks to Samus for editing and helping me write. I am really so sorry for the gap in uploads. Life's been incredibly busy as of late, and I've been taking some time to familiarize myself with and participate in the actual work that's happening on the ground. It's a really great solution to that feeling of powerlessness that we're all feeling right now, so can't recommend it enough. But anyways, hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one.